DJ headphone in there for the last 10, 15 years, you know.
Yeah, right.
2003 or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I saw a bloke DJ with a laptop, and I was completely blown away.
Yeah.
And I went to a trade show, and I saw Native Instruments.
Right.
And there was a bloke DJing on vinyl, but the music wasn't on the actual piece of vinyl, was it? And I went,
yeah.
Now you actually had vinyl records on decks, and then he had a screen, and then I went, so you just add the track, you don't have to take the record off and put it in a bag and take it out the sleeve and put another one. He goes, no, I've got everything here. And I was just amazed. And in those days they had 8. I've got an audio 8 here. So they had 2 decks and 2 CD players.
Right.
So you could go from deck to CD. But it had all these cables everywhere. And when you arrived at a nightclub, you couldn't get into the back of the mixer.
Right.
So you'd get to these clubs and it was just like a couple of decks. I go, I need to put XLR. And they go, you can't get near it. I was, I've got to put vinyl back on then, you know. So I don't know if it interests you at all, but I had CDs and vinyl and a laptop, and I carried everything. I showed up at a club and they had the worst CD players in the world. But they had decks where the needles were buggered.
Yeah.
And you go, and it cost a fortune. So anyway, DJ Rusty Egan was not a DJ from 1987, 88, when I went to Paul Oakenfold's Spectrum at Heaven on a Monday night, and there were like 1,000 kids on a Monday night into Acid House.
Yeah.
Which was the continuation of what we'd done in 1979. But now the 808 and the 909 was available around the corner in a shop. And people were making records with the cheapest, easiest little knob twiddling equipment like a Dembski and Seal. But anyway, then I got out of DJing, and I didn't come back until 2003, 4. I had a nightclub in 1990, but I just had DJs come and play. But anyway, now we got that over. Let's start whatever time it is. Stephen Roper, you have spoken to David Brooks.
I have.
Zane Griff.
I have.
Chris Payne.
Indeed.
And now Rusty Egan.
They all seem to be members of a certain band, I believe.
Well,
but tell me,
they all have an amazing pedigree.
Yeah, how did that all come about, though?
Well, when I first put together my super band, I brought Barry Adamson, Dave Formula, John McGeer down to the Billies and the Blitz Club, and then played them Ultravox, and then brought Billy Curry down to the Blitz Club and played him Magazine, and then played them all Noi and Kraftwerk, and you know, we put a record on, run out the DJ booth, say, what's that? And they go, I don't know. I say, it's called Electricity. It's 2 blokes from Liverpool. And what's that? It's called Photograph. A little band from Basildon called Depeche Mode. So the bottom line was, it was like this, like inviting people around your house and playing them things that you know they're going to love, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, Permafrost by Magazine with that guitar playing of John McGeoch. You know, I was just like this super fan.
Yeah.
And of course, being a drummer, I'd then play them the Dancer demo that Midge and I had done for the band that we hadn't actually created. And then they'd stay the whole night, and 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, still be there. Had an amazing night, and all the people, Richard James Burgess, Peter Godwin, everybody else in the room had all been pulled together by this very loud person, me. How did the three people come together that you just mentioned? Well, in 2009, when I was told to calm down, don't be angry, but Steve has had all your money. And John McGeoch, and Dave Formulas, and a couple of blokes on the Beat Boy Flop album. And he spent it all. Calm down. And I was like, well, I have spoken to him in the last 10 years to tell him that the music publishing contract that we both signed for my company meant that after 25 years, he was free. And so was Mark Armand and Dave Ball and Paul Strapham from B-Movie and everyone, because I was not going to sign people for their life. And I was really called an idiot for doing that. And anyway, at which point you could go and get some more money from someone that will collect your music publishing for you. So I was in contact with Steve, and I was telling him I'm looking for the royalties, and he had been getting them all the time. So anyway, calm down. So this bloke who also robbed me, called Jean-Philippe Iliesco, who was the producer of a band called Space. And I worked with Didier, and I worked with Roland. He, you know, one of those people that you just would never in a million years think was robbing you, but was robbing you. You know, but hold it. You live in Mayfair and drive a Rolls Royce, and I can't pay my rent, but it was all my music. So how did that work out? Oh, no, it's not like that at all, my friend. So I was basically banging on his door saying, you know, calm down. Let me introduce you to this fella, and you're going to make us so much money. Don't worry. So he introduced me to this bloke called John Pitcher, who owns MRC Digital Musical Distribution, blah, 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 who was just another lying, thieving scum with a lovely smile. And he had devised how to get Steve Strange to pay back all the money. So I had to call up Midge Ure, Dave Formula, Billy Curry, Barry Adamson, and everyone said, no, I'm not going to do anything. For that, Rusty. So I called up Mick McNeil. He said, yeah, I'd love to do. What do you want to do, Russ? And then I called up Robin Simon, and I met his brother, Paul Simon, not Graceland.
No.
Okay. Paul Simon. And I met, and I called Chris Payne. And I said, look, I'm going to put this band together. I'm going to write all these songs. Steve is going to sing them. So basically, it's another Visage. Steve's going to agree to pay us 50% of what he makes, and we will get our money back that we got robbed.
Yeah.
And we'll get John McGeoch's daughter Emily something, and I I got a bit of music off Chris Payne, and I wrote the song. Well, actually, no. What happened was I got about 3 or 4 bits of music off Chris Payne, just instrumental music, and I've never. I thought I need a milieu, you know. I can't write all on my own.
Yeah.
I hadn't got the confidence. I wrote blocks on blocks, and you know, I come up with, you know, Moon Over Moscow or whatever. But to write Fade to Grey, you know, verses, choruses, you know, I'm not in the league of Mitch. So I thought, I heard this band, and there's this bloke called Gerard O'Connor, and I really like him. And I was in the Isle of Wight Festival, and I heard Arno Carstens, who is a South African singer, sing this song called Dreamer. And it was only on an acoustic guitar. And I thought, that's an amazing song. And he said, do you know Youth? I said, yeah, I know Youth. He said, well, he produced my album. So I called up Youth, and he said, well, if Arno agrees, I'll send you the song. So he sent me the song, and I got hold of Gerard O'Connor, and I met him in a bar, and I said, look, this song, I think, could be as strong as Depeche Mode, but the chorus only says, Dreamer. And I said, I want to write a chorus. So we got his guitar and we played the track and we listened to all the words that he'd written in the first verse, you know, I was dreaming, you know, and we wrote, I'm back at the start, you're still in my head, now we're apart, I've got visions of you. Anyway, we wrote, I'm a dreamer, and then I did it in a Depeche Mode style, meaning got rid of the rock guitar drums, got rid of the guitars, you know, made it very simple. And then I thought, why don't I get hold of Brian Tench? Who's Brian Tench? Well, he's the sound engineer on Visage 1, Visage 2, OMD, Ultravox, Mijure's solo album, and the bloody Bee Gees, you know. Oh, sorry, and Tina Turner. Anyway, so I got hold of Brian and went to his studio, and we made Dreamer.
Right.
And then I thought, Gerard's great. I've got these sort of ideas from Chris, and I've sort of written something. So this is the good bit. A little bit like I wandered around lonely for a bit. I wandered lonely as a cloud. He was my Heineken. He came in and he said, what are you trying to say here? And I wrote Evermore. And I'd written about eloping out of a small town, which is what we all did. You know, everyone left, you know, Birmingham, Leeds, Manchester, and whatever, or ran off to Birmingham or Manchester. So meet at the road of the city that's calling. This town isn't only good for hope, because I want, anyway. So basically, he can sing, and got his guitar out again, and wrote, and then I basically did the synth version, because you write on guitars and pianos, you know. No one sits there going like stylophone, you know, still notes and chords. So I had Evermore, I had Dreamer, and I loved this band called Tenek, and Chris Payne had done a song with them.
Yeah.
And I really liked them, and I got hold of them, and I said, look, you've got this track, and I really like the bass. And I've sampled it, and I put it into a techno drum beat, and I want to use it. And we agreed to give them 20% of the song for a loop, just a bass loop.
Yeah.
And then what I did was, I thought, I want to write the rest of it in Ibiza.
Right.
So anyway, I paid for everyone, Brian Tench, Gerard, his girlfriend, the villa, the studio, whatever. And we all went to there, and I stood on the top of the roof of the villa, and I wrote, "Welcome to the dance floor," which is where I was.
Yeah.
Can you feel my bass inside? And then with Gerard, I started on another one. Anyway, the bottom line is, there's me thinking, because you're saying, how did this all come together? There's me thinking, this in the hands of Chris Payne, and when I get Robin Simon, and when I get Mick McNeil, this is going to be a bloody brilliant Visage album. And all Steve has to do is sing.
Mm.
Well, unbeknownst to me, while I'm out in Ibiza writing music, an email arrives. Here's 6 songs from the album Visage.
Mm.
And I go, sorry? Yeah, Steve and my people have written the Visage album. I said, John Pitcher, never enough. I don't know what they're called. I said, listen. He goes, no, you listen to me. Me and Steve own Visage. Me and Steve own Blitz Club Records. And me and Steve are going to make an album by Visage. Just take the money, Rusty. Shut up and take the money. You know what I said?
I think I've got a rough idea.
So they made Hearts and Knives with Dreamer adding the word I know. That was their chorus.
Right.
We wrote a chorus. They wrote I know. They stole a song from Midge called Become, which Midge had said, here, Rusty, I'll give you a song for your Visage project. And then Midge had to write to them and say, I'm sorry, you cannot use that as Visage. And they wrote back saying, but you've uploaded it onto the internet and therefore it's in the public domain. And because it's in the public domain, we can do a cover version. And we are Visage because legally and all this crap. So I said, I got hold of, I can't believe it's not butter. And I changed it to Visage. And I shared it on social media again. It looks like Visage. Anyway, and then I got thousands of Steve Strange fans calling me all sorts of names. And you can't even play the drums. Yeah, all right. So then I dropped Welcome to the Dance Floor, which may well have been a Visage album. But what I then did was I posted a picture of Midge Ure, Chris Payne and Rusty Egan, and I wrote, this is not Visage. And there were more original members of Visage in that than there was in the real Visage.
Yeah,
sorry, the real Visage happened to actually be the Twitter handle, the real Visage. My arse. So anyway, I thought the last thing I want to do now is have anything to do with Visage.
Right.
Then Midge Ure calls me and says, do you want to come on tour with me? I go, what? He goes, well, it's going to be the 40th anniversary, and I thought I'd do Visage Vienna.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you've got your own band. And I like Chris Payne, you know, Robin Simon, and whatever. So the point was, he said, well, look, why don't you do your band and I'll do mine? And why don't you just come and play some drums, do some vocals, half a dozen tracks, and a little warm-up chat? I said, that sounds great. And then I said, can Tiny Magnetic Pets do the rest of the tour? He said, who are they? I said, you'll love them. You'll love them. OMD love them. The fans love them. You know, they'll be perfect. They won't get in the way. They don't have a drum kit. just a keyboard player, stand-up drummer, great singer. So he met up with them, heard the music, and said, "No, I love them, Rusty, perfect." So I did the warm-up. I did a load of talking. I had a couple of trolls, you know, people who don't know who Rusty Egan is. So they thought some bloke was just shouting before Mijur came on. You will be stunned that there are Spandau Ballet fans who never heard the first album.
You're probably right.
I did that tour as well, 2009 and 15. And there were people who didn't know what the Blitz Club was. And you go, "But you loved Spandau Ballet." "Oh, I love Spandau Ballet." "You never heard of Blitz Club?" "No." "Have you heard of Ultravox?" "No." "Have you heard of Mijur?" "Is he Bob Geldof's friend?" "Yeah, that one." Yeah, there are people who don't know. Forgive them, for they do not know. So you're not getting to say very much, Stephen Roper, but I hopefully am clearing up the fact that I don't want to go on stage with a keyboard player. I want to be on with Chris Payne. And Chris Payne said, the man for the job is David Brooks.
Yeah.
And I met with David and I went to his house and I heard his music.
He told me.
Yeah. And I had a couple of ideas. I had a couple of ideas about singers, and I literally thought of the BEF, which I have seen on numerous occasions with Martin Ware, and Glenn will sing a song, and then out pops, you know, whoever guessed that they want singing a BEF cover version song, you know. Yeah. So I started to think, wouldn't it be good to perform the music of Visage, but have Holly Johnson do one song, and, you know, started to go through a list of Peter Godwin might do a song, maybe Ronnie will do a song. I started to go down that road, you know. Yeah. And if you do a bill like we are at WFest 2021, if it happens, and on the bill is Mijur, and on the bill is OMD. And I thought, wow, I wonder if Midge would do a song, and wonder if like Andy would do a song. So I started to think like that.
Yeah.
And then on tour with Midge, he said, "You know, I'm going to New Zealand." And I said, "And I'm not, right?" And he went, "Yeah, well, you know, I like to have a local support band, you know."
Yeah.
And he said, "But I'm going to be meeting up with Zane Griff." And I said, "I got him a gig in London. I've got him a gig. He's coming to London. I've got him a gig at the Water Rat and I'm going to go."
That's right.
So he said, "Well, why are you thinking of having loads of singers? Why don't you just get Zane Griff?" And I said, "Well, I don't want a lead singer. You know, this is not Queen and some bloke who's going to be Freddie Mercury. Doesn't matter how good he is. To me, it doesn't work. I do not want to go on stage with some bloke who, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Steve Strange." So he said, "But Rusty, if David Bowie said he'd come on stage with you and sing all the Visage songs, what would you say?" I said, "Well, obviously I'd say, yeah, but it wouldn't be Visage. It wouldn't be Visage, would it? It'd be David Bowie with Visage, his backing band." So he said, "Look." So we had a think about it. And we thought about Kraftwerk, and we thought they had all their names. They weren't Ralph and Florian and two blokes. You know? They had their names. Ralph and Florian were together for 7 or 8 years before they added, you know, two blokes, you know.
That's right. Yeah.
Employees of Kraftwerk Incorporated, who happened to co-write some of the greatest songs, including The Model, Carl Bartos. What a talent. So I started to think, right, I'm not having a guitar player up the front. We're not a guitar band. I want 3 keyboard players, including me, because I've got 2 fingers, just like Dave Ball from Soft Cell.
Indeed.
So I've got a bloke over there that can go up and down 88 keys, like with it. Oh, I've got a bloke on the violin. I can go doop doop. Sometimes I feel I've got to. I can do that. So I started to sort of work out all the songs and say, well, I did that. Yeah, well, that's my voice on Fade to Grey. Oh, that's my voice on Night Train. Oh, that's my voice on Blocks on Blocks. Oh, I did that. And oh, I played that. And so I started to think of all the things that I would do if I stood on stage. Yeah. And I thought, well, Chris will do that and David will do that. Well, we only need him to sing because there's not that much guitar. But what guitar there is, John McGeek and Midge, he better be bloody good. Midge said to me, believe you me, Rusty, Zane Griff can really play the guitar. So I asked Chris Payne to send him, a sort of very simple, simple backing track. We'll send him that and ask him to put some guitar on it. The track Visage, pour my visage. And it was note for note. And I went, all right, send him. Move up to a different sound. Came back note perfect. Really? I was shocked. I sent Midge a message. I said, bloody hell, man. I never knew. I mean, I hung out with Zane Griff in the clubs, and he had a band with Warren Cann and Hans Zimmer, and they all got on amazing with Ronnie. So I listened to his interview with you, and at the end of the day, like he said, everyone just hung out, Yeah. And when I had the song with you, I listened to your one with Tim Dry from Shock. Yeah. There was a whistle then. Did you hear that? I'm having my teeth done. I'm whistling at the moment. Okay. Yeah, like Shock did the robot thing, and then Gary Newman loved it and took them on the tour. But Richard James Burgess and I were working away on music and technology because he had a Fairlight. Richard was my technical dude. And all the bits on the Visage debut album, in between all the songs, was me and Richard. So we did the beginning of Fade to Grey. We did the we did all these little links. Because the idea of the Visage album for me was that you were sitting in a cafe in Paris and the music didn't stop. Yeah. You just put this album on. And that was it. It was this album that took you to Moscow. It took you to Tokyo. It took you to, France. It took you to Belgium. That's the idea. I love international European music. And just for anyone watching this interview with you, Stephen, a lot of people have this hang-up problem, don't quite know how to present themselves, their band, their act, their brand, their logo, whatever they are, for fear of suburban amateurism. Do you get that? Yeah. Oh yeah. A bit like there's some bloke made a record, and I think it's very funny. He said synth boys don't smile. Was that it? Okay. It was like a joke record. And he did we're in a synth band and we don't smile. We all wear suits and we're all do. You know what I mean? Now, if you like me, I don't know if anybody knows the music I make, the artwork I make, the videos I make, the live performances, the shows, everything, including the first album of Visage, has all been done with no money. I want everyone to understand that. The album cover, no money. The first Visage video, no money, nothing. So I want you to understand that if your name is Fred and you're in a band, you talk like that. You got to look at how you present yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm not Steve Strange or Midure, am I? I am a DJ in the booth that nobody knows, and I'm a drummer at the back of the band. So I know I'm not a front man.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I look at it like this. When I contact you or anyone else, I say, as far as I'm concerned, there's two people talking in a pub having a drink. And if someone said to me, well, you weren't very good on that interview, I thought, well, you're missing the point. Because I as a fan of yourself and other people, I'm just interested in, and other people are interested.
Well, look at Ricky Gervais, who's worth 100 million quid, who just puts a camera on in his house with a crap microphone that he bought from Tesco or whatever, and he talks to his camera every day to something like 40 bloody million people. This is COVID. It's what you've got to say. It's what you've got to say. Like I said earlier, I've got wireless headphones. I've got the most amazing wireless headphones here, right? They're called Egan, right?
Right.
You can graphically equalize them to perfect your own sound, right? And then I've got these headphones, which I DJ with. But for the internet, in my super cool laptop, I've got an Ethernet cable going directly into the wall so we don't lose the signal through a crappy Wi-Fi. Because my son is in the other room playing Xbox or something. Now, you know when you ask somebody a question and they think you are really rude. Her name's Karen, right? Yeah. It's the same with a bloke in a band, right? Why don't you get a keyboard player? Are you saying I can't play keyboard? Yes. You're really rude. Yeah. And I go, right. So what about this? What about I don't answer you at all? I just ignore you. Okay? So why are you ignoring me? Because is your mum going to tell you? Is your girlfriend going to tell you? Who's going to be the Simon Cowell? You can't sing and you can't play. You might be able to write. Like me. Yeah. So when I talk to Midure and he says, get Zane Griff, and can he sing? Can he play? You know what I mean? Then when I get the demo, then when I hear him sing, and then I go, wow, it works.
So are you doing a completely new album?
Well, I'll tell you what the other three couldn't tell you.
I think I hinted at it.
So I've been trying to talk to Universal Music Group for 11 years since finding out that they paid all this money to Steve Strange, who's no longer with us. And he had a lovely time blowing over 100 grand. Okay, so he had his fun. Okay, during which time I'm bringing up 3 children. I had a sick wife who's no longer with us. So I'm absolutely so upset. Okay, so I'm DJing every night in a club to get 200 quid to look after my family. When hello. 25 grand a year popping through somebody else's letterbox. Thank you very much. Bloke who couldn't write a song anyway. So trying to talk to Universal is like talking to your ex-wife. Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand. So dear, John, Rusty, Dave Formula, Gary Barnacle, about your royalties, and then nothing. You're not going to get them until you produce this piece of paper, that piece of paper, that contract, this contract, that document, this document. And now you've got to go around Steve Strange's mum's house, who's about 85, get her to sign this document. And I go, oh, this is ridiculous. Anyway, well, I'm not going to give up. We'll get there in the end. So the reason I was trying to talk to them was I thought, why don't we remaster the first two albums? Why don't we all get together? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And they go, here you go, Rebellion Masters. I say, oh, who are they? Oh, you gave our album to your Rebellion Masters to remaster it. We can do what we bloody like, mate. We can do what we like. We're Universal Music Group. So I went, yeah, but Alchemy Mastering, my mastering from Trident Recording Studios, the greatest mastering in London, my mate Barry, who did Tiny Magnetic Pets, the last single, my guy, who does everything, awards falling off his wall, and me and Dave, we could have done the mastering. We would have made it official. We would have, forget it. We would have had a booklet. We would have done something.
Yeah.
Forget it. So I thought, well, I can't talk to Universal Music Group, but I can talk to Dave. And Barry Adamson is like an artist in his own right. He's on Mute Records. He's made 9 or 10 albums. He's like making music for films. He hangs out with Nick Cave. I need a bass player, and I got Chris Cross.
Really?
So Chris and Brian Tench obviously worked on Ultravox. And then I called Gary Barnacle, who I last met at Soft Cell at the farewell gig.
Yeah.
And Gary played on I Thought That I Could Never Love Again with Eric Stein on my last album. And I said, Gary, he said, yeah, I'd love to do it. He's on the anvil. He's on Visage Records. He's on that beautiful sax on Love Glove. So I thought, well, I've got Chris Payne, David Brooks, Chris Cross, Gary Barnacle, Rusty Egan. Why don't we just revisit the bloody albums? We got time now.
Indeed.
We're all locked up. Everyone's got super duper studios.
Indeed.
So we started on it about 3 months ago. And then Chris said, I've got to do, and basically David Brooks, I'm doing my solo album. Zane Griff, I'm writing another album. So I went, all right, guys, well, don't worry. We've got like 6 months, So basically, bit by bit, we are going to revisit. Now, I thought, if we're going to revisit it and we're going to perform on stage, I listened to the album, and I don't know if you know what 144 BPM is.
Not really.
All right. It is Tainted Love, but double speed.
Okay.
It is Bed Sitter, down, da, down, down, da, down, 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 da, down, down, da, down. It is Human League. It is down and I thought, I'm not going to perform that speed. And I thought, and I know again. 130 BPM. Nowhere, girl, you're living. You know what I mean? But I thought, so we ended up at 134, right? Taking in consideration mine of a toy was 138. See what I mean? So I thought, I want to really musically stretch them a little bit.
Mm.
Not 12-inch mixes, but I just thought a longer intro and a longer solo middle rather than just a 3-minute track. So I'm starting to play around with those ideas, you know. And when we did Mind of a Toy on stage with Midge, he'd extended the middle break, you know, the whole bit with the children in the playground and all that, you know, and he go, get. So I'm starting to really enjoy revisiting them.
Yeah.
And then I got hold of the original photographer of the original album, Visage, but Pete Saville and Helmut Newton will be out of reach for the Anvil.
Right.
So I'm thinking, but the clothes were Anthony Price. So I'm thinking what to do for the Anvil, I don't know yet. And then I thought we might as well write another album then. So that's 3 albums we're doing.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I've been doing a documentary.
Right.
Which you can see on www.getblitzed.co.uk.
Okay.
Do you want me to keep talking? I'm very happy for you to talk, Stephen.
No one's really interested in what I've got to say, mate.
So you're happy for me to tell you about Get Blitzed?
Indeed.
Well, what happened was I was in a bar with my lawyer, and he introduced me to Chuck from New York, who's in the TV business.
Right.
So my lawyer goes to the bar to get a drink, and Chuck says, who are you and what do you do? So I tell him, oh, my name's Rusty and I'm a musician DJ, but probably got claim to fame. I made Madonna's first record. And typical American, he Googles me and not like in front of me, you know, during the conversation with the lawyer. So about half an hour later, after the lovely chat with the lawyer, he says to the lawyer, I probably went to the loo, you know. He said, I've just Googled that bloke. It's unbelievable what he's done. And and my lawyer says, yeah, it's really sad, really, because, you know, he got ripped off and his best mate and blah, blah, blah. And don't mention it, but he lost his wife and got kids. And he gave him a bit of a sob story, probably. And the bloke went back to New York and did more research. And then he got hold of a bloke called Bruce Ashley, who edited like dozens of really top videos, Duran Duran, Eurythmics, Frank Goes to Hollywood, all this stuff in the 80s. But he's been a sort of film director, you know. Yeah. And the two of them came back to the lawyer and said, we think there should be a documentary about Rusty. Okay, that sounds like great. Except that when you go to a TV company, they go, who's Rusty?
Well,
you know, so they go in there going, we've got this bloke, he found Depeche Mode, he did this, he did that, you know, making all these statements. And they're going, so you've got a DJ, you know. No, we got this guy, and with Midge, he did that, and with Steve Strange, he did that. So you've got a DJ. So they come back and they go, look, they want a documentary about the Blitz Club. And I go, sounds great, except the biggest market for us was Germany, and they don't like to mention the Blitz. I don't think it's going to go down well. So the bottom line is the documentary about Rusty, where I brought in Chi Ming live from the Electricity Club, and I said, look, you got to talk to him. I want every album, and you know, I want Yellow Magic Orchestra. I want everything I played in the club, Thomas Lear, and you know, all the obscure stuff. And I want everybody to know, this record, that record, Richard Jobson. I was in the Skids and Bill Nelson, and all this kind of stuff. And it went, I think it's going to be about Boy George. And I went, oh. So I got hold of Boy George. And he's been adorable for years and years to me.
Yeah.
But don't ask me for anything. Yes, Rusty. Yes. But don't ask me for anything. My friend's daughter wants an autograph. Forget it, Yeah. So what happened was I contacted him and Marilyn, and I contacted them all and I said, guys, there's this documentary and I know there's loads of them and you've seen them all before, but this one's going to be really stylishly put together. I've done my bit, all that. They went, it's COVID, not talking to anyone.
Right.
So it really was a hard slog to say, yeah, but everyone will be wearing a mask. Oh, it was really hard work. The crew, the producer, they really pulled the stops out, So I went from sort of star billing, the documentary about Rusty Egan, to like the DJ and the Blitz, which is the story of my life, really.
In Germany.
But I convinced them that they'll never get Kraftwerk music. You won't be able to play it because, EMI go, yeah, we want 50 grand for 1 minute,
Yeah.
If you want to do a documentary, you want David Bowie heroes in German, nah, sorry. So I said, if you have any problem getting any music, just come back to me because the music I make is the sound of the bloody Blitz. Old or new. So they made a demo, you call it, a trailer, which is on www.getblitz.co.uk. And in the background is an instrumental version of Ballet Dancer.
All right, okay.
So I put it up on my SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And then on my last album, I wrote a song called When We Were Young with Paul Stratham from B-Movie.
Right.
He gave me his music. I took his music, added my music, and then I wrote all the words, and then I vocoed it. So it's me. It's actually me doing all of it. And I wrote it, and I was with Steve Norman in Ibiza about 3 or 4 years ago. And I said, Steve, why don't you work on this song with me? So I wrote, tonight's the night, the music's calling. We danced to Iggy, Bowie and Bolan. And hey, we found love when we were young. And Steve Norman said, that's crap. And then I wrote, in the club, our future felt brighter. We danced to the synthesizer. He goes, rubbish, Rusty. I said, all right, thanks, Steve. Not your kind of thing. So basically, I wrote all the words. And then I thought, I want to say it's 1979. It's 1980. And I went all the way up to 1987. And then I said, the summer of love. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Anyway, that's on my Welcome to the Remix Volume 2 album.
Yeah.
What I did was I remixed that, took out after 1985, and I sent it to Get Blitz. And I said, but this is the story of a night out in the Blitz Club. And they said, that's perfect. And then I said, how you doing with the Kraftwerk? Can't get it. I said, well, I've written a song. It's based on the model called Catwalk. And I sent them that. And they said, oh, we love it. So I basically started to go, ooh, and I've got this song and I've got that. So I'm sending them a load of stuff. So the end result was, I thought, well, why don't I just do an album called Blitzed
Right.
for the TV show.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got hold of Ronnie, and she had a song that she did with Vangelis, and she had a song which she did with Hans Zimmer, and I took Blue Cabaret. Do you know it?
Yeah. No, I don't think. I probably doesn't ring a
song.
bell.
Don't worry, beautiful song, and basically I made it even better. That's the way I look at it. And then I got hold of the Tiny Magnetic Pets, and I said, "You've got a song called Blitzed," and they said, "Yeah, we have." And I said, "Can I put it on my soundtrack?" And they went, "Of course you can." And then I got hold of a couple of other people, and I said, "Your songs would be beautiful on my album." Metroland.
Yeah, yeah.
So they did a Blitzed mix for me, and now I've got a soundtrack of 20 tracks.
Really?
But I included the instrumental Burundi, because that's Adam and the Ants type music, without Marco, because I've got the version with Marco on Welcome to the Remix Volume 2. So basically, I just cherry-picked some songs, and then I remade I Thought That I Could Never Love Again, which I did with Eric Stein. Well, I remade that with a guy from New York who has the voice of Shirley Bassey.
Really?
Yeah, if you go on YouTube and you put in Boy George and Kobe Cole,
right,
they do Walk on the Wild Side live in a club in New York, and I heard that, and I got hold of him, and I said, "Mate, you've got such a voice. Check this song out." And he goes, "Darling, I love it," and it's perfect, perfect. That's what having a great song is. You play it to someone and they love it straight away,
Yeah.
I mean, I bet a lot of people don't even know that John Lennon wrote Jealous Guy,
I would imagine not many people do.
Yeah, I would imagine also.
No, I do.
I can't believe you said that. So anyway, so what you've got now is you've got a lineup of 7 or 8 people, including Brian Tench, who did the original Visage albums, revisiting the original Visage albums. A lineup of 4 of them plus guests performing those albums live on stage.
Yeah.
Guests will be wherever we are. Who lives here? Peter Hook. Let's give him a call. A bit of that. Bit of that. So let's enjoy that moment. The lineup is not a band. The lineup is 4 people performing the music.
Indeed.
If I go to see Tangerine Dream, I don't see a band. I see 4 people performing the music I love.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think hopefully next year things hopefully would have changed and we can start doing these things.
Well, I haven't stayed in for 40 years. About time I did. Don't you ever stay in? Yeah, I'm going out. You're going out again? I used to post that midnight on a Wednesday. I'm going out. I could go to nightclubs for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, why not?
No. COVID is a very serious thing. Indeed. And a lot of people have lost loved ones. A lot of people have lost everything. A lot of people have gained a hell of a lot of untangible assets, meaning you actually do show up at your mum's for Sunday lunch. All those years you couldn't bloody make it, or whatever. Family, I think it's really good for family. It's really good for learning what's really important in life. It's really, really good to be grateful for the food on your plate, to have food on the shelves. It's really good. And I it turns out I am a champagne socialist. I don't know what that is, except that I've read down and out in London and Paris. I've looked at the economy, I've looked at history, and I've worked out that there are those that have and those that don't have, and it's been the same for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't understand. This is what I don't understand, right? Mick Jagger is probably worth 80 or 800 million or something ridiculous, you know.
Something ridiculous, yeah.
You know, these ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah.
Whereas certain people like Bill Gates, etc., have all got foundations to give it away. And Elon Musk is getting so rich, it's embarrassing. But he does so much good. What I don't understand is how you can not do something with the money that you have. Can't you say, I only need 50 million quid? I only need 5 houses, right? I only need, you know, 20 staff. I don't know how it is, but I don't understand how you don't say, and the rest of it, now, let me see what I can do.
I think with Bill Gates, as much as he gives away, he's earned it the next day. You know, he gives away billions of pounds, but he just accumulates it again the next day.
Well, it's not about, it doesn't matter how much he's accumulated. Let me explain something to you. If you were the man who invented the cat's eyes, but didn't get paid, you know how many lives you saved.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Before the cat's eyes, you didn't know where the middle of the road was.
Well, I feel bad now because as a kid, I used to go and get them out of the road.
Well, what did you do with them?
Buggered if I know. We didn't have the internet or the phone or anything. I ain't really got a clue.
I used to nick the chrysolite pickups from the telephone boxes, put them into my Dave Simmons SDS3 and trigger my electronic drums with them. I used to solder them. I used to solder them in because they used to blow when I hit the drum too hard. Had it turned up too loud. No, look, what I'm saying is I got robbed.
Yeah, I know.
I found Soft Cell. I gave them my money that I got from my advance from my album that was already in the top 10 all over Europe. And I formed a company with Warner Chappell Music. I then signed I got all these people sent into Warner Chappell's. Yellow. I mean, the list is endless. What I actually got out of it was them stealing my company from me. That's what happened to me. I left the music industry in total and utter disgust. I'm now back being very loud because the technology is here now. Hello, smart contracts are here. Hello, the next Web.3 is coming. 5G is coming, a whole new network is coming, and you, an artist, a fan, will be able to survive on 100,000 fans. You don't need 1 million and 10 million. You don't need it. If 100,000 people gave me 20 quid, I'm sorted.
Indeed.
That's it.
I don't always work this out. Like my daughter is a huge Taylor Swift fan.
Who has 700 million followers, plays, streams, whatever.
It's like 150 quid to go and see her.
Yeah.
But she's doing it for the fans.
Well, we've heard that before, yeah.
I've heard it several times, but when you're worth 100 and something million, I believe she is, I'm not saying you do it for nothing, and I know how much cost goes into these things, but don't say you're doing it for the fans when it's going to cost 120 quid a ticket.
Well, can I show you something? I'll show you something now. This is an envelope that I've had all my life. And it's the contract where I gave Depeche Mode 50 quid.
In cash.
In cash.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the 14th of February 2021, it will be 40 years since I gave them 50 quid to play for me.
Yeah.
So I went to my printer and I had them make numbered copies. Can you see there's a number
Yeah.
in, there's a number. Yeah. I'm now going to make Depeche Mode fans be able to celebrate the fact that I put them on stage to 5,000 people.
Yeah.
There wasn't nobody there. I didn't make a penny from that concert. I got ripped off by the venue, light, sound, security, backstage, St. John's Dam. The usual. They're all dead, everybody. I know them all. They're all dead. Anyway, the point is, what I did, how do I put it? What Taylor Swift has done has made a lot of people very happy.
Yeah.
And I watched the documentary all about her, and I was really glad she broke away from the grip and the control of the people around her. Yeah. Scooter is a perfect example of the scum that I hate in the music business, who owns all her master recordings. But Taylor Swift has not written a song better than Dolly Parton.
No, probably not.
No. And Dolly Parton is Miley Cyrus's godmother.
Yeah.
And that horrible shitty record that she made with John Ronson, Mark Ronson, whatever his name is, it's just a rip-off of Jolene.
It's not very good, is it?
Okay. And then that #1 hit is just a rip-off of that #1 hit.
What, the recent one?
No, not by her. The #1 hit by a bloke who's running around Las Vegas saying these are brilliant lights. It's just aha. Yeah, and he's singing these brilliant lights, right? Whatever they're called, right? #1 hit turns out to be written by Max, whatever his name is, who wrote Britney Spears' "Hit Me When Your Rhythm Stick" or whatever the fuck they're called. Then you say the last record by Dua Lipa, "Let's Get Physical," is only fucking Olivia Newton-John. Then you look at Sia and David Guetta. It's just a rip-off of Pat Benatar. And you could go through the whole music industry. Every single one of them, from every one of them, are just karaoke pop stars. You're given the music, you're given the words, you're given the video, you're given the clothes, the watch, the trainers, the stage show, the production, the lights. You just go out there and do it all. And what I'm saying to you is in 40 years' time, nobody will give a... Not like we're revisiting 1979, 1980, the advent of Brit synth pop, the Human League, Ultravox, and Depeche Mode, and OMD, and Visage, and Heaven 17, and Japan, and the list is bloody endless. And there was nobody writing their songs for them. There was nobody telling them what to do. They were all living on bloody UB40s in squats in Deptford, and they did it all themselves. And they came from nowhere. And even when Human League were finished and they'd lost Martin Ware, Martin Russian, who'd given us his garage to make his album, had learned enough about drum machines, synth drums, synthy-codes, how to make electronic synth pop. And boy, did he do an amazing job on Dare. So they brought in Joe from the Rezillos. You know, they needed help. We all need help. So no, I'm a loudmouth. I tell you what I'm loud about. I'm loud about going, have you heard Ryan Vale? Have you heard Julia Bondar? Have you heard all the artists that I've been loving for the last few years and promoting on my radio shows? Have you heard them? Have you heard Cult with No Name? Then collaborating with them all and getting them all in the studio. And guess what? They don't get anywhere. They don't get anywhere. They're not going to get on the radio. None of them are. There's going to be no good music until the next Web 3.0, the next time. And what's going to happen, right? Imagine this, right? You're going to say to Ryan Bale, how did you sell out the Albert Hall? It goes straight to my fans.
Yeah.
I've only got 25,000 fans, but I sold 5,000 tickets.
Yeah.
Straight to them. So what's going to happen is the music industry are going to be at the Albert Hall going, can we do a deal? And they go, what can you do for me that I can't do for myself?
That is true, isn't it? That's very true.
We'll get you on the radio and get you an award. I don't care about the radio and I don't care about an award. I care about my 25,000 fans and I care about reaching somebody else's fans.
Yeah.
Well, who else likes Ryan Bale? Rusty Egan likes Ryan Bale. Who likes Rusty Egan? All his fans. And who likes you? And that's the point. There will be little communities of us. And, you know, like Gary Newman fans, they love him for his whole life. They love everything he does. That's it. I don't care about you. Taylor Swift has 700 million fans or whatever the hell she's got. But she hasn't got one song that's going to touch anyone over 25 years old.
Not really, no. And I get to hear most of it, if I'm honest.
Well, if it was good, if any of it was good, believe you me, when in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, I got voted the best DJ in London, and I was involved with Prince Harry and William's favourite club called Bougie. I was DJing in the polo parties. I was DJing in the south of France. I was making people happy, playing them records that they'd never heard. And they said, who's the Pussycat Dolls? I said, you're going to love it. Who's 50 Cent? Oh, he's amazing. I played current music. Rihanna was unknown. I played a Ponder, whatever it was called. I used to listen. I used to go online, listen to music, pick that, go to a club, play it, and people went, he's amazing. And I went, no, I can tell a good pop record. I can tell a good song. I can tell a good R&B record. I can tell a good house record. Deadmau5, his first ever record, Facts in Berlin. The first tune ever of Avicii. Whoever they are, if they've got it, I'll find it. And that's what I've always told people. If you've got 700 million followers and I go on your thing and I go, no, Spotify, next song. And then I go, what a song. What is that? And I look at it, I Google it, and it says written by Max in Sweden, who wrote everything for everybody else. And then you go, it's like Dead or Alive going to Stock Aitken and Waterman.
Oh.
That's what it is. We'll go to Stock Aitken, Waterman, and they'll write us a hit song. And that's what people did in the 80s. They went to them, Bananarama, all of them went to them and had the worst records you ever heard in your life, Do the Locomotion. And but Mandy Smith, the jazzy mix, I just can't wait. And then every now and again, Roadblock was very good. So every now and again, it was like, there's a tune. Who's that? But no, that's the point. And when people don't like me, as in my radio station, etc., it's because I'm telling them you can't sing and you can't play or whatever. So I don't tell anyone anything. When I announced I want to celebrate Visage 2020, right? A bloke in a band just basically annihilated. No one will never be Steve Strange. How can you do this? This is sacrilege. And I'm like, no one is going to be Steve Strange. Yeah. And when Midge and I played in Cardiff, I did through a girl who I know in Cardiff, invite the whole family of Steve Strange to the gig. And she was with Steve's mum, who commented, why are they doing Steve's song? When we did Fade to Grey, you know.
Yeah.
So Mitch said to me, no one will ever be able to stop me performing any songs that I wrote, Rusty. And if I wrote Yellow Pearl, the theme tune at the top of the Pops, and I'm the bloody drummer, no one's going to stop us performing the songs that we made. So yeah, that's when he said, why don't you do Visage and I'll do my 1980 tour. And that's the point, really. The point is, would I go on stage with Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be... I wouldn't even go on stage with Steve Strange. He wasn't bloody good enough. No way. No, that band... When I saw that band, Visage, have reformed and they're doing their gig, I was like, oh my God. And I tweeted Steve Strange and some blokes in a pub. Really badly done. And they swapped the soundtrack as well on the YouTube. You know, they changed the actual, oh, it's so bad. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was getting tweets. You're just jealous you're not in the lineup. And I was like, I'm just fucking relieved I'm not in the lineup. Are you joking? So for anyone watching Rusty Loudmouth Egan, let's put it like this. We've lost a lot of people. I'm over 60 years old. Dave Formula announced on social media that he's free of cancer. He had cancer for the last year.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was gone. Well, Dave is also contributing to the revisited albums from his own studio. So if Dave, Gary Barnacle, Chris Cross, Chris Payne, David Brooke, Rusty Egan revisit those wonderful songs with today's technology, with Brian Tench, the original sound engineer. I mean, how do I put it?
It's going to be good.
If you're not interested, go away. Like my trolls. If you are a troll, go away. We make music.
I think the albums will be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, a little bit slower. We're all a little bit older. No.
Well, that's true, yeah.
I hope to have some hairs on the back of my neck moments, you know.
Yeah.
A bit more news, talking of cancer. Anne Clark, who I knew from the 80s.
Right.
Anne Clark has also fought cancer.
Right, okay.
And Anne Clark made a couple of amazing tunes that I loved in my DJ sets. One is Full Moon. And she did Sleeper in Metropolis.
Right.
And was very big in Germany. And she's offered half a dozen really cool people to remix her work.
Yeah.
So I've done 2 for her.
Oh, brilliant.
90% of it is because she's been fighting cancer and she deserves it. And the rest of it is because they're bloody good. I get asked to remix a hell of a lot of stuff. And I don't. It's all about music for me.
Yeah.
When John Pitcher said, shut up and take the money, I said, no. I don't have any money. It's easy to say no when you got money.
Yeah.
And it's easy to give to charity when you got money. But when you watch those videos on YouTube of a homeless bloke gets given a McDonald's and he goes and shares it with another homeless bloke.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So real people have nothing, but their door is open to you, you know? I do. I must be a champagne socialist, you know.
I like the idea of that.
So I don't know how long I've talked for non-stop, Stephen.
Well, I believe it's about an hour and 15 minutes. So
do you want some quick fire questions?
No, I think we'll do a 2-part. I think
you want me to talk again? Is your dinner ready?
I've had it.
Well, if you wanna do it again and you want some quick fire questions on the subject we touched upon.
Be fair, all the questions I never had to ask you.
Well, why don't you fire a couple? Just go.
No, you've already told me them all.
I actually did them all without you.
Without me even asking.
Go on, do it quick. Go on. Just scroll. I was going to ask you who's in the band.
I know who's in the band.
Okay.
Is it true you're writing a book?
I have written about 300 pages of garbage.
Right.
Garbage when it comes to a book publisher.
Okay.
Not to me.
Mm.
So I have asked a journalist who I really like and respect. Look, when I talk about going to Ultravox in LA in 1979 and hanging out with them and talking about being the Fonz and can you look at this that it says on the internet where it says what the set list is and what they were playing and what instruments they had and what song? Can you do that bit for me? So,
I can do that.
yeah. So I mean, I've got it, but I really want the detail, and I really want when I talk about, and I walked into this club and I saw Depeche Mode and they go, that was Crocs in Rayleigh and it was on that day. I go, oh, but I went twice, and you know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing.
I can do that because there was one song you said you got on stage and played the guitar with Midge.
King's Lead Hat.
That's the one.
Yeah, I can play that. I can actually play things like that on guitar.
Isn't that a great song, though?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can play guitars and synthesizers and drums and I can do the musical thing. I just think that bloke's better. I'd rather have a real guitar player. So when I work at home and I go, sometimes that very simple stuff is really, really good. And it stays in the track, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did Love Is Coming My Way, you know, and that bass bum, you know, bum, 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 you know, it's very simple bass. But the sound, when you go, what sound, you know,
I know.
and it's all about the texture of the notes. And when I do that, in that, I did a little Hawaiian slide guitar type thing.
Yeah.
And all these little things, you know, basically I know what to do. But it's really good when you got a bloke sitting there that can go up and down 88 notes and go, what about that? And sometimes you go, well, that's a bit too much, but I like that bit, you know. So, yes.
Well, we'll do another one then, which will be more technical. But I did go to see Midge's acoustic set there a few years back.
Yeah, he just don't stop, that bloke, doesn't he?
You know what? I was fascinated. He was brilliant. Pretty brilliant. You know, he can perform all on his own. You know, sometimes you wonder if people can do it without the big, you know.
Well, to be honest with you, anyone, Sting, Mike Peters from The Alarm. I mean, there's so many people. They play one chord and open their mouth, and you're like, wow. Yeah. And that's the X factor. And when you see people saying, look at the busker, isn't he great? You're like, no, it's just a bloke singing a song.
Well,
you know,
where he was playing, it was quite a rough part of Norwich. And,
a rough part of Norwich?
There is a rough
Where
part.
do you live then? Do you live in Norwich?
Well, I live outside of Norwich. But
that's where John Pitcher lives.
Yeah.
That bloke, I know where he lives.
Well, where he was staying was about a mile away through the city. And they said, we'll get you a taxi. He said, no, I'll walk. And they kept saying, no,
yeah,
I do that.
I do that.
And he said, no, I'll walk. No one will know who I am. And off he went.
Well, I did the entire tour of Spandau Ballet like that, twice, and all over Europe. Italy, I loved it. I did it all by train and all that stuff. And then I did the whole tour of Midge UK, and I just jump on a train and get there at 2 in the afternoon, do my sound check, walk here, get a little B&B, whatever, Airbnb, whatever. I stayed with friends, actually, a hell of a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So, no, for anyone watching the Superstar thing, the limo, that was all 70s, 80s, rock and roll, you know, staying in hotels and smashing things up and taking drugs. And we all did all that. We all did that, you know. Then you wake up in the 90s, nobody knows who you are and there's no money, and you work out your lead singer nicked it all. Then you go into the noughties, and then you're like DJing for weddings and bar mitzvahs. I actually DJed in the Camden Palace for a corporate event. Yeah, for a corporate event. And I had all these Spinal Tap moments, you know. I had all these like warming up DJing for an 80s DJ. Right. A bloke comes along and plays the 80s music and gets paid loads of money, like a bloke with a mullet haircut that was on the radio, you know. Yeah. I don't know what his fucking name is, you know. And and then when I did all those rewinds, I was playing the Smiths, you know, Bowie, U2, Simple Minds, and they were tweeting, "We don't know what he's playing. We've never heard this. Why can't he play? It's Raining Men." Where? Where's I am the one and only? And I'm like, they're complaining. You know, they're complaining about "Don't You Forget About Me" and "Somewhere in Summertime" and "The Name of Love." And
I know.
And I picture a rainbow, you know, the Water Boys. I even played 500 bloody miles for those people. I was like, come on, you know, sing these songs, you know, sing them. And it was like, what music did they want? They wanted the Locomotion and Stock Aitken and Walkman. That's what they wanted. They wanted Together Forever. They wanted Rick Astley. And you're like, I don't do this stuff, you know. And then next, we got a bloke with a mullet haircut. He'll do it. So yeah, I had my Chorley FM. Chorley FM. He showed up.
Tell you what, Rusty, we'll leave it at this, because that's going to take me 5 hours to actually upload it now.
Don't you know how to make a file smaller?
Yeah, I do it all on it.
I do. Right.
Yeah, no,
So will you add a little link to getblitzed.co.uk? A documentary that's going to be out on Sky TV in about 4 to 6 weeks with an amazing soundtrack.
I'll do it. I'll do it at the beginning and at the end. How's that?
All right, Stephen. Who do you want to get next?
We're doing something again soon, but I've now got to research all the songs I believe you might have played on, so I can ask you about them all.
Well, you just go to a thing called Discog.
I know.
And I'm on there.
That's what I know.
I found records I forgot about. The Armory Show. You know who they are?
All my questions I had, and you answered them all without me even asking.
Well, that's quite good then, really, isn't it? Don't you hate those super cool interview people that say not very much?
Well, I don't say a lot, but you know.
There's so much media now. I can't wait for it any longer. If you know.
To be fair, I done Sal Solo the other day, and I found that hard work. But there you go.
Who?
Sal Solo.
Sal Solo.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I knew his manager, who managed X-Ray Specs, and he lived around the corner of me.
That's right.
Yeah, a really lovely guy.
Oh,
he always used to give me Sal Solo's records, you know, and I was never a fan. Well,
the problem is because with Zoom you can put a background behind you.
Me?
You could do.
I know how to do it. Yeah.
Well, he put big grass blades behind him.
Yeah.
And every time he moved his arms, they disappeared. So I find it really hard to sort of concentrate. If you know.
Maybe you look like a fish.
Well,
Maybe you look like a fish.
I sort of came to a couple of blanks a couple of times because I was looking at his arms disappearing and there's huge grass, and I was like,
he did a tour, and he had Shock on tour with him. I think that's when I saw him. I saw him on that one at the Lyceum, I think. They were really good. They were really good. I was just, it's a bit like Flock of Seagulls. I was just never a fan, you know.
But you should watch the one I had done with Shock the other day.
Oh yeah, Tim Dry.
Tim Dry, because I didn't tell him Sean was joining in.
Ooh.
So when Sean joins in, it's worth seeing his face because he's
wow.
It's only 2 or 3 minutes in when he joins it. I know he's done because I invited him.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a sheer look.
It's a bit weird. Shocker, like me, I was the person who made the first record of a lot of people. You know, and then like Ronnie went on and made 4 or 5 great records. Shock made a couple of really good ones. There's one of them I really like. I really like one of them. I played it on a mix the other week. It's got a great drum sound. And they went on to do some really good things. So I'm very proud when I can sort of like look at, I don't know if you know the Chiefs of Rare Leaf, but it was Paul Cook and Matthew Ashman. Right, Matthew was in Bow Wow Wow and Paul Cook in the Pistols. And I made their first record, The Freedom to Rock. And they made an album and toured with Big Audio Dynamite. They went on to do great things. And then I also found The Specimen, and we created the Bat Cave. Right. And then with Youth, we made Young Limbs and Young Hymns, a goth album. And in Youth, I introduced him to, I don't know, U2 and whoever. He went on to produce everyone. And then John Klein left Specimen and joined Susie and the Banshees. I also had Ali McMorey, who was in Stiff Little Fingers. I put out a record with him. I had Paul Fox, who was in the Ruts. I put out a record with him. I had all these. I had Jimmy O'Neill, who was in the Silencers, but wrote Lucky Number for Lena Lovitch. I had Clark Datchula, who went on to do Johnny H. Jazz and Shattered Dreams. I had the Berlin Blondes. I had Bill Laswell, who did I Could Be Wrong, I Could Be Right for Pill, and Herbie Hancock Rocket, and Nona Hendrix. And I had all these writers like Paul Stratham, who went on to do Dido. All this was my Metropolis catalogue that got stolen off me. And I had Mark Almond and Dave Bull, who went on to do Mark and the Mambos and The Grid. I mean, everybody that I signed went on to do and make and produce amazing music. Gary Barnacle, Leisure Process. When I call them now, they all say, yes, it's quite amazing that I'm a millionaire in artistic and creative people, including Bono. I mean, Bono asked me and let me remix 2-3 tracks off their last album, which I absolutely love, the U2 mixes. And and then I did B-Movie, their last album, because I signed them too. So I think when you say, I'm going to look on and see which ones you've been involved in, remixing, collaborating, writing, playing, producing, and being in the band, I'm probably the one from the 80s that has done more than most of them. And when I say that, Midge has done Ultravox, Thin Lizzy, Kate Bush. I mean, he's done a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
I just think I'm probably Tiny Magnetic Pets. You know, I'm probably on about 40 artists, I reckon. Phil Lynott. See what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we'll go into a little bit more depth about all these lot next time, shall we? It's just that I know we've been on for an hour and a half now. So
Chop it down to 20 minutes, mate. Chop it down 20 minutes.
No.
I've got to go, my dinner's burnt. My dinner's burnt. I put it on an hour and a half ago. What are you doing to me?
I'll talk to you soon, mate. You want to go?
Wait a minute. Got to say goodbye. Bedtime reading.
Have you done the English version?
Yeah, I got the English version.
Ah, brilliant.
Bye.
I'll see you soon, mate. You watch Egan.
Bye, mate. Bye.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Bye, Steve.